Bayelsa Queens defeated Nasarawa Amazons at the Samuel Ogbomuje Stadium in Benin to become the 2021-2022 Nigeria Women Football League champions. Arise News sat with the chairperson of the Nigeria Women Football League, Aisha Falade, as she reflected on what has been a milestone season for women football.
The journey of bringing women's football to the place we are right now has not been easy. It's been challenging. It's been tough. It's been interesting. It's also been impressive. We know that women's football in Africa started in Nigeria, and if we wanted to maintain the part we were playing in the direction of the women's sport, and especially football in Africa, we needed to also take it outside of the field of play by being intentional about the organization of the women's game, by being committed to the growth, and by looking at setting a target for where we wanted it to be in years to come. So from the outside, what I was seeing as a journalist was as, it was astonishing to me. I was seeing other African countries who started emulating Nigeria now also getting their competitions and tournaments in a way that they knew the path they were going. There was a structure, there was a calendar, there was a commitment of taking the game to schoolgirls, getting more girls to participate in the sport. And I thought that we have the numbers. Nigeria is such a big country. Nigeria is such a passionate country when it comes to women's sport and even the men's. And football was just the icing on the cake that we need to make our young girls see the potential and help them to also bring their vision of what they wanted to use the game to become into reality.
In what has been a milestone agreement in the United States, stakeholders the world over in women football have been re-energized that there is light at the end of the tunnel for local women's football globally, especially visiting into Nigeria. The mile marker has been set. The question is this: will football experience the kind of change we're beginning to see in the United States?
I would say it was emotional. You see, change is what you dedicate your time for. It doesn't matter how long. One day when you see the results, you look back and you say you have done well. The pay parity agitation started long time ago. I remember in the United States there was a time that even their women's league had to take a break for a couple of seasons because there was no investment, because there was no commitment to the women's game. Even though they were given they were doing much more. They were better in competitions and in winning tournaments than the men. So we would say that the story of the United States is the story of Nigeria. They have agitated for this for so long. This crop of players, the ones who won the landmark court victory and then the settlement from the United States Soccer Organization, were not the ones that started the agitation. It's like a relay. The baton was being passed from one generation of the national team players to the other. So this is what the world needs to pay attention to now. The FIFA president has not hidden the fact that he wants to take women's football not at par with the men's, but he sees women's football as not only the future, as the present of the sport. The present meaning that if we give the attention, half of what we give to the men, to the women, they have the potential, they have that power to change and begin to attract more investment to the sport, which is what is happening in Europe. Look at the UEFA Women's Champions League, for instance, where a game will command a stadium attendance of over 90,000. I mean, in years past, who would have thought about that? Again, commitments, having a vision, pursuing that vision tenaciously, passionately, and then having a structure that will support that vision. That vision without a structure, without commitment, without the fundamentals will just remain what it is. And this is what we are also trying to do in the Nigerian Women's Football League. In the past, we didn't have a structure. We didn't even have a league that had a format, that had a calendar. It was not visible. So, as a journalist, I knew that this is what we can do. We can turn it around. We can use the power of the media. We can use the structure. We can begin to let our people know, educate them about what they need to do, even within their own clubs, having their own boards, having their own, signing players' contracts, having welfare packages for the girls, and then having a calendar, be consistent with your programs, create more events, create more tournaments, and then before you know it, we'll start having that investment that we are looking for. Women's sports is not charity. We are not. It's a serious business, just like the men. Now we are beginning to enjoy, prize money for our women, our winners, for our cup final. We create an atmosphere for the cup final that is not only glamorous, that is impressive, that the girls will see and really, feel happy that they are part of something extraordinary, something impressive, something good, something that they can relive in their memories long even after the game. We also teach them other career opportunities within the game. Football is not going to, you are not going to play football forever. What happens after the game? We teach them, have career talk with them, organize seminars for them. Now we are thinking of even now taking the game to young girls in our schools because we want more participation. We want opportunity for leadership in women's football. We want opportunity for those who can really begin to use the future, really, presently, to begin to traject towards that big vision, the global vision for women's football. FIFA is expanding the number of participation of the teams that can participate in the Women's World Cup. Now 24 countries are going to be in Australia and New Zealand. Funding for women's sport has also increased. So we must thank Infantino, and he's also sending messages to member associations. You need to dedicate a certain amount of your funding to funding the women's sport, which is why you see their FIFA grants to each member association. The ones that are for women are specifically dedicated to women, and that's a message that you need to pay attention to this. In Europe, women's football is commanding almost the same attention of corporate revenue as the men. Tickets are being sold in their thousands in the women's game as the men. That is what we want to see in Nigerian football. If only the corporate world, we thank the organizers of this game. We've had 4 cup finals. We never had a sponsor. We've always had to, depend on goodwill to even organize that cup final to be near perfect. Now that we have a sponsor, it has done a lot more. Now we can pay prize money. Now we can dedicate trophies to individual awards. Now we can get our young girls to aspire to be winners in the future and in the upcoming events. Our young girls are going to have opportunity from this tournament to be invited to the national team. So this is the vision for the women's sport. But without the corporate support and the corporate assistance that we need, the investment that we need, we can only try. But with the investment, with the assistance, with the support, then we can compete with any in the world, because we have a lot of talent, abundance of talent in women's football in Nigeria.